In this episode, I'm sitting down with science fiction author Jordan S. Keller, whose newest release, Falling Gravity, explores themes of kindness and forgiveness in a world that often forgets both. But beyond the fiction lies a very real and personal story, one of grief, healing, and the courage to turn loss into legacy. Jordan opens up about the passing of her father and how writing became a way of navigating the weight of that loss. From the power behind the title to the deeply human moments woven into her story, this conversation is for anyone who has ever tried to make sense of heartache and maybe even create something beautiful from it. Welcome to the Minute Mastery Podcast, a conversational productivity and time management podcast where busy authors and entrepreneurs are inspired to create time for what truly matters. I'm your host, Ngozi Edema. I'm a time management coach, writer, and entrepreneur. Here you are encouraged to turn your minutes into milestones and to create at least 1 hour a day working on your goal without feeling overwhelmed. And since you are here, I thought I'd let you know of a storybook to gift your favorite kids. Once upon a time, and they lived happily ever after. Children love those phrases. I love them too, and I suspect you may love them too. As a mom, I've spent hours reading and listening to my children read their favorite stories. And now I write stories too. Here is one of them you may want to check out. The Proud Sunflower. It is the story of Princess Sanzu, the Sunflower Princess, a princess loved by all but who got into trouble. Within the pages of The Proud Sunflower, you will find what real beauty is. Your kid will love the beautiful story and the powerful illustrations. The Proud Sunflower serves as a gentle reminder that we all need to stand on the shoulders of others to succeed. So read this story with your little ones and allow it to illuminate the universal language of empathy, forgiveness, and personal growth. The Proud Sunflower is a top book on parenting, morals, and responsibility, and it is available in the Kindle store and on paperback formats. Excellent for beginner readers. Click in the link in this episode show notes to order yours today and check out my other storybooks to read with your kids, or gift a child a storybook if you do not have kids of your own. So, joining me in today's conversation is Jordan S. Keller. She's a science fiction author from Cincinnati, Ohio. Her newest release, Falling Gravity, is a story of kindness and forgiveness in a world that knows neither. Welcome to the show, Jordan.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. Your sunflower story sounds amazing. I wish I had a little kid to read it to.
Thank you. So I'm so glad you're here to have this conversation with me. And I find your story inspiring, and I know others will find it inspiring. So let's begin with your new book, the new title, Falling Gravity. It's such a striking phrase. What does it mean to you, and how did it come to represent your journey through grief?
Yeah, so the book, I've got my copy right here, Failing
Oh,
Gravity. Yeah,
yeah.
very exciting. The title for the novel didn't come out till I was finished writing it. And writing the book, I didn't realize I was using it to explore and escape and overcome my grief. So it's all kind of looking back at it. But in the book, there are these gravity centers that start failing. And so the character's world just starts just upheaving itself and no one really knows how to fix it. And in my personal life, that's sort of how I was feeling after the first couple of months after my father's car accident that took him from us. Just this sense of being loose and like not connected to anything and just free falling into unknown places. And so that's where that title came from, for how it fits into the book science fiction story, and then how it fits into my real world feelings of trying to navigate through grief.
Thank you. So at what moment did you realize that you need to write this book?
So I had started thinking about the concept of the book before the accident. And it was after the accident that I just dove into it. Every time I got sad, every time me and my mom, we had to do will things or have to plan after funeral arrangement things, I would just go back to the story, to this world, to these characters. And I was escaping those feelings through them. I didn't want to have to deal with all the hard hardships that came with navigating that grief. And so I chose not to, and I took that coward's way out and just explored this new world until I was ready to kind of come out of it a little bit and figure out how to heal myself, which also helped me heal my character. And because he suffered through some stuff in the beginning of the novel as well.
So it's often said that the best and most important way to start a project is to start. So starting is always the big step that anyone needs to take. And if you are grieving and not happy within you, that is another layer of challenge that could come in your way. So, was there a specific day or feeling that made you say to yourself, you know what? I'm going to start, or
Yeah,
I'm going to continue
I'm
because
going to continue. Yeah.
you've already started before the car accident. Anyway.
hmm So my dad always pushed my writing. He always believed in me. He always encouraged it. And when my first book came out a couple of years ago, he was the first person I told because I wasn't ready to tell like my mom, my other family members yet because I wasn't sure what was going to happen because the book wasn't officially out yet or anything. And so like I feel like I've told him everything first my whole life. And so I realized I still could do what I loved and I could still do the things that we loved to do together, even if he wasn't with me. And so that really inspired me to keep going because he knew how much I loved writing. I knew how much I loved writing. And it just didn't feel right to give that up or to let that sort of just evaporate from my daily day without him being here. So just it felt like honoring his presence by keeping up the things that I love doing.
So just continuing because you know that is what he would have wanted you to do
Yeah.
anyways. Yeah. Okay. So grieving a parent, I still have both of my parents, so I cannot be in your shoes, but I can only imagine how the pain that you are feeling. So grieving a parent is such a personal and a layered experience. How did writing help you to process that emotions?
Yeah, for me, what the craziest realization of my father dying was like the first major death I had dealt with. And I was so scared to meet new people. I was so scared to show emotion to other people, to love people like I do, because at any moment they could be taken from me. And in my mind, it's like, what's the point of making these connections if they could just be ripped apart at any moment? And the novel Failing Gravity kind of mirrors that because our main character starts out very rough and aggressive and mean. And I thought that's the kind of person I needed to be to survive that grief, to overcome it, to survive future grieving and future losses. So I was very cold and angry, and my character is very cold and angry. And through the novel, as time passed, as I learned to grieve, I realize that I can have connections with people. I can be kind. I can allow people into my life. And the main character, Roman, also realizes that as well. So it's okay to care about people and it's okay to love people and it's okay to miss them when they're gone. And that's just a part of life. And it's better to experience the good things and then also experience the bad things when they go versus not having that goodness at all.
Hmm. So it kind of refined you as you write. You knew that you need to change things as you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were there any parts of your story that was difficult to write or that you almost didn't want to include in your story?
Surprisingly, the book came out really easily. It was inspired by one of my favorite music albums. So playing that all year long was a nice, escape from the world also. And so writing the book was always a good thing for me. It was always something I look forward to doing. But towards the end of the novel, the ending ended a lot worse for the characters. And when I was realizing that I could still have hope in my own world and that there needed to be hope in their world, I rewrote the ending chapter so that it ended more hopefully versus this very doom and gloom ending that it initially had. So that was difficult, just like looking back at how I was feeling with all that darkness and seeing how I overcame it and seeing how I could still be happy and giving that hopefulness back to the characters. So it was more like a cathartic feeling, I think.
Yeah, it's amazing how the author's emotions affect the characters that they
Mm-hmm.
produce.
They're like
They
little pieces of us.
yes, you see little pieces of you of what you were feeling and thinking at the time, kind of affects what your character feels
Yeah.
and does. How did you find the balance between honoring your father's memory and staying true to your own emotional truth in the book?
Yeah. So I didn't really incorporate a father character into the book. And looking back now, I feel like that was intentional because I was missing mine, so my character shouldn't have had one also. So I didn't really honor him in the sense of having a character dedicated to him. But all of our favorite things come through in the book. We love the movie Real Steel with those fighting robots. One of the earlier chapters, we see some fighting robots, and that was 100% for him. There's a lot of food references to some of our favorite meals that my mom would make us growing up. And then there's also hints at other music that he's always listened to that's inspired me to find my own music enjoyments. So I honored his memory through the book by incorporating those little memories that I have with him, that reading the book you might not catch, but they're there for me. And that was really special to include.
So, in my future episode after this one or before this one, I think it's going to be how authors can start writing. Because one of the major things I find with authors is that aspiring authors is the time to start writing their book. Time has always been one of the major problem that aspiring authors face. And if you're grieving, it brings in another layer of challenge because there are days you just don't want to do anything because of your grief, which is normal. So how did you find time to write in spite of your grief? Take us through your process. Yeah.
So the grief aside, my day job, I have a half-hour lunch break that I'm recording this podcast with you on right now.
Yeah.
But I would use that time to always write, whether it be writing a new chapter, doing character sketches, doing outlining. So every day I would eat my sandwich at my desk and write. So I always carved out that half hour during my weekdays. And then in the evenings, if I'm not doing something, if there's no groceries that need to be get, if there's no dinners with friends I'm doing, I try to dedicate an hour to hour and a half just to my craft, rewriting chapters, moving the story along, doing some editing. But what helped me really during the grieving was I'm part of a really compassionate writing group, the Queen City Fiction Writers Group of Cincinnati. And we meet every other week, and every other week you bring something to share. And I knew if I didn't bring something every week, like I would be letting them down, I'd be letting myself down. So they really helped keep me afloat and keep me writing just because they were expecting me to bring something. And so just to keep normality going, I think. So just having that support group really helped me.
It's really good to find such support group, and you were also using your lunch hour time to do some writing because
Yeah.
that is what I always say to people, that there's always some time in between your day that you can use to do your writing. So it doesn't have to be a whole lot of time. 30 minutes, 1 hour will take you somewhere. When I did my calculations yesterday, just putting in 1 hour, 5 days a week, you have 40,000 words written if you write 500 words a day.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the 200 words a day method, and it's
Oh,
crazy how much.
are even,
Yeah, it's
which
crazy
is
how much
even
you stack
better.
up.
Yeah. So I was even working on 500 words a day. So if you do 500 words a day, you have 40,000 words in 16 weeks.
That's
And
insane.
you have a book. Like you have a book. Many books these days are not more than 40,000 anyway. So it's just making the best use of the time that we have. We can't get time from any other source. It's just using what we have and make it work for us. So if someone is listening into this episode and is currently grieving, and person is also thinking of writing to cope with their grief, what would you want them to know?
I'd want them to know that it's gonna feel messy. It's gonna feel difficult. You're gonna write things that you didn't think you could, and it's gonna expose some feelings that you have. And you might not like those feelings, and you might not knowing these side of you, but it's really important to figure out how grief affects you. So that way you have a better way of getting out of it. Cause I started therapy about 8 months after the accident, and I wish I started that way sooner. And it was through the therapy I realized that I was becoming this very cold person because I didn't want to love anymore because I was so scared of it being taken away from me. And learning that about myself helped me overcome that, and learning that it's okay to feel sad because it just proves how much you had loved the person, and that ultimately it's better to experience the loss with the love to never experience that love at all. So just be prepared for those uncomfortable moments in your writing, but just know that they're coming from a good place. And once you can see the bad, you can also see the good in it.
So where can they find your book and can they connect with you?
Yeah, so I'm Jordan S. Keller. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. My new novel, Failing Gravity, comes out May 6th. Pre-orders are available now. You can find me on my website, jordanskellerauthor.com, and there's links to all of my books, including this one and my superhero trilogy that finished up last year.
So your links will be in this episode show notes.
Thank
You very much, Jordan, for coming to the show, and thank you for sharing your story because it's inspiring. We know that no matter the circumstances, we can still cope. Writing is a powerful tool. It's kind of a therapeutic. It can help us. It's to cope with different situations in life. So thank you very much for giving us your perspective, your own story, and we hope to see you someday and connect with you through your book.
Thank you so much for having me on your show today.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in to the Minute Mastery podcast. If you have found this episode helpful, please share it with someone who could use more time in their day. And remember to subscribe and leave us a review. Until next time, you are in control of your time and you've got this.